Okay, good afternoon. I swear it's too hot for this shit. Right, so what I wanted to do is refactor things. So if you're on the last stream, I'm just gonna, or not, I'm gonna like bring us to where we are. What I would have liked is to make it so that I can have something called a stat called max HP there, and a stat has name, description, just so I can always like access it, but the name is important and the value is important. And what I would like is just as I'm constructing a new character is to be able to say new max HP dot value equals that, but I can't. I can if I'm like stating a character and going from there, right? The reason I would want to do this is because, for one thing, here in GM, when we spawn a character, where is it? Basically, this is when we spawn a character. Oh, so when we apply an upgrade to a character, if that upgrade is a talent, we give them a buff, right? So what I wanted to do was make it so that a character and anything basically has something called a stat, and it just always means that like if an upgrade has a stat and the character has a stat, we could say we'll find the character's stat that has the same name and upgrade that one, as opposed to like having to do it name by name. And the problem there is that basically when I make, like if I wanted to do it like that, I would have to change the way each character is expressed. But instead of saying character list or add new character, the character is stored at the top around here, and then we just modify what we need to modify, and then that allows me to just say set the value of max HP to the hero HP, and we just kind of set the defaults over here. And that means I have to go through all of these and kind of change that, which is a massive pain. And that's what I was actually planning to do. And that would be the proper way to do things. So next time I make a game, I'm going to do it like that from the beginning. However, I have to ask myself now at this late stage, is that the best course of action? Right, like, am I actually making my life easier by doing that, or am I making my life harder? Right? That's the question. So it's this big, like, to refactor or not to refactor. Like, you should refactor if, like, it's gonna speed, like, it's just a speed gain overall. Like, it's like Factorio. Like, if I'm going to rebuild my factory line, that's going to take me time, and we're going to miss out on production during that time. But in the long run, it will be easier to develop. And in this case, it's like, yeah, when we add... And so here... I feel like this part could actually be a lot easier. So now we can just say character container dot, and so basically I think I'm not going to do that, because that would mean like too much change to this script, which is already very well developed. Like we've already imported all the characters, we've done everything. However, this script is basically, that's how it's going to be. So yeah, I'm going to undo everything except this, where I make a list of human characters. everything else. Yeah. And then okay. So I'm not going to do that big change. We're not really messing with stats at all, except for like maybe explaining, maybe for the encyclopedia or something, you could click on a stat. And then basically here in talents, I need to say value equals 0.1f. And the value just needs to match what we've got there. God, it's way too hot for this shit. And that's fairly straightforward, right? Nice and easy. Because then I only have to do that to like 20 things. And then over on the leaf, when we apply it, we're increasing that value. And then over where we actually get the benefit of the talent, because we've just stored a value, we just go up to character container, add buff, and the buff is the upgrade.name. Visible is false, and the buffer is null. But of course we need new buff upgrade.name. So the name of the buff is the name of the upgrade. The stat So if the upgrade had a stat, and then so the value of so then we'd be like, so here's where it's annoying. It's like we have the same problem basically. I mean, the alternative is we just keep this how it is, but no, it needs to be upgraded. It needs to change based on the value. So it would be not like in this version of events, I can go new buff upgrade.names upgrade.stat, and then like buffs needs to work differently. So this is why it's like giving me a headache, is because there's like my brain's being pulled in 10 different directions, and I'm like, I kind of know what would be the perfect form of this code, but that would take too long to implement. What's the quickest way just to get things to work how I want them to? So it would be nice to be able to say upgrade.stat. I think I'm just going to keep it like this. So new buff.names. So yeah, there's no universal one, because basically I'm just changing one bit of code for another. Like that could relate back to God, I hope I'm not waffling. I think I'm waffling. I would just relate that back to, so yeah, this would be upgrade.names upgrade.stat.name upgrade stat.value. false, true. Right? And then the problem is, so we could make it that upgrade has a stat, but then that means I have to like, because like again I can't be like stat dot value because reasons basically. I'd love to be able to do that. I can say upgrades. I can say get upgrade armor dot stat dot value equals whatever I want it to be, and then I would also say and then over here it would be a simple matter of, because it's going to get the name of the stat, it's going to get the value of the stat, and it's going to raise it. It's going to give me that buff. Right? I'd really love to just be able to go stat dot name equals, but I can't, which is really annoying. I could say so what might be better is if an upgrade has a string stat name public float stat value equals 0f, right? Oh, yeah. Yeah, sorry about the slow week. It's been way too hot. And yeah, it's like I have to basically commit to bad code. So the first thing here would be to go into upgrades. And then rather than having to do all this get nonsense, we just go upgrade, we say stat name equals armor, and stat. What's going on? Oh, that needs to be a comma, for God's sake. And then basically I have to just do that for all of them. And then if I do that, then I can delete all of this. Most of it. The alternative would just be to go through each of them and just... But then we still need... Yeah, so we can delete these. So armor, rations, boots... A lot of these don't exist anymore, but some of them do. Basically I have to do that for each of them. And this is one of those points where, like, so it's like just like in Factorio, you'll be making a factory and you'll realize you've been doing it all wrong. So you want to start again. And that's the temptation. You want to just be like, oh, okay, let me just start a new factory from scratch. Or like a Baldur's Gate campaign, you realize you've been leveling your character wrong, you haven't been doing it properly. So you want to do it again. You want to just start again, and that's my temptation. Or go back and refactor the whole thing, but then like, I'm not really going to benefit from that. Is the game going to benefit from that? Like, I'm just getting so lost in the weeds here. Because basically having this simple thing of having stat rather than it just being like, oh, this character's HP is 100, we say this character has a stat whose HP is 100. That is impossible to do with the current configuration. And to change the current configuration, that's just a huge job. And that would be better long term, but this will actually work and might actually cost me less time than the alternative. Like, while it would, so I would make a few little time saves from doing it like that. I would save myself like, 10 hours over the course of the project, but it would cost me 50. It would take me 15 hours to do it. That kind of thing. We don't actually know what the chances are here, so I think it's like 0.1. It's like a very mild increase to chance, but I'll know pretty quickly if that's off. God, I'm sweating so much. I'm barely moving. We might do that. Let's see, let's just... I kind of just want to get things working again and just get to the point where I can be like, yeah, I can unlock a stat and that works, and I can improve what a talent does. Basically, that's all we need. So how did we have that before? So poison. The stat is called Poisoner. have thought putting the bracket there would fix that spacing, but I guess that's only sometimes. Okay, so I'm not going to do that for all of them. Stat crit. Is it called crit rate? Crit rate. And it's starts at 0.05. Did I lose? $10, $15, $20, $25. Lifesteal. Again, that's just called lifesteal, right? Yeah. One word. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Let's just stick with that. That's fine. Let's go back to the numbers as written. There's a lot of stats. Didn't I already do luck? Flame heart. Okay, yeah, that should do that. And then now here, basically I don't need these anymore. So I should just carefully delete the ones that aren't like special. Interestingly, like I have to think, like all of them might, like, so for the rain ones, and then what do we have here? We have frequency, radius. So I would say the value that we give would be upgrade.stat value. So meteor shower. Oh, that's not a talent anymore. Okay. I'm gonna delete that then. And holy beams. Wait, why is there a bracket expected? Okay. It's coming straight in with it. If there should be a switch statement anyway. So here we have 10, so that's the frequency of how often it comes. So if we say for chicken rain, we would in fact add (987). So yeah, 10,987. That, and then so we don't need this anymore. Oh, so yeah, so then we just put bloodlust doesn't exist anymore. Shower doesn't exist anymore. We can always bring it back, but I think since we're doing refactoring, we would want to bring it back like properly, you know. So poison is now a buff, so that's accounted for. Flame Heart, Rigor Mortis, Spark of Life, Kaikam are buffs. Plague starts at least that's a buff. Luck is a buff. So actually the only one we keep there is Reign of Chicken. Interesting. Okay, fair enough. That's fine. Okay. And then so here we have spawn ally, where we do a similar thing. So we want to go So that's for the player. And then that should do that. It's going to give half the value. Everything else is the same. So we can delete a whole bunch more code. Yep, so all of them apply like that. So if you have the talent, it will, yeah. Okay, so that's much better. That's much better. Okay, and yeah, they're all reflected in here, and it will just take, yeah, the value and the stat and apply a buff that has that stat. So that's much easier. That's much better. Okay. So we don't, we all, I mean, at some, like the buff code isn't great, but we should, it will work. Oh yeah. And this means that if we upgrade, so if a leaf, so the talent, the stat value goes up, and the stat value is now what is read, rather than just taking it from the name. Okay, yeah, that works. That'll work, and that means we can now modify the power of stats, and that's the main thing we wanted to do. And we just spent a long time dilly-dallying over whether we should refactor the whole code to make this work smoother, or whether we should just, you know, make it work with our existing spaghettifiedness. And I think we've made it work with the existing spaghettifiedness for now. Refactored a couple things, but essentially it's going to be a big one when we decide to like revisit that. So in the meantime, we should have a functional game. See if there's any compile errors. Yeah, let's try actually. Let's kind of get back to where we were. Building panel should be closed and barrack should be closed. Okay, yeah, so leaf, so let's start with this one. If character.faction not equal to null. to title screen. No, was it stuff? I think it was stuff. What was it? Level 2 character. So yeah, the aim now is just see if we can get it working again. God, my fingers are. Been fixing my kid's bike chain constantly because it keeps breaking, keeps disconnecting. So my hands are like permanently dirty lately. Yeah, that makes sense. So if figure out what that is. So do we not have a leaf that's called attack speed? Okay, do we do it like that? So the prereq here would be attack speed 1. Is that how we've always done it? Ranger 1. Huh, yeah, interesting. Okay. Should we just call Ranger 1 Ranger? I guess because it's an upgrade. I think that would be better just to call it Ranger 1. So like any instance of space I should actually be just, I think barracks, yeah, should actually just be like we don't need the one, because I think that is just confusing. And I think we can get rid of these for now. Okay, I'm going to do a clear save. So yeah, I think changing the names of the upgrades, that's bad. But yeah, that is how I should do it. Aye, that's why. It's just good to get this stuff done with a few things in it before loading it with stuff. Okay, that's closer to what we'd want. Yeah, I mean no compile errors, so it's a good sign. And we would basically want to always start at the bottom, so this would be scroll view vertical, the value, yeah, so scrolled view. So when we open it, open building, This little random thing. Okay, let's give myself some free gold. So and then I'm probably obviously yeah, I'm gonna need to see how much gold I have. So let's do a very crude one for now. Building panel. I mean, we're gonna want to just like see it here. But like, so outside of the building panel, we'll just have like this is copy from the main game. Get some text. HUD kill text, yeah, just to get all that random shit normalized. And where would it actually go? Yeah, I guess top right is fine, right? We'll see. And at the moment, like, I don't have a sprite for it. So we'll call this currency text. And then we'll have another one which is... Oh, thank you. Ooh.
Please bring up them.
That's nice. And then basically when we open here, Where do we get current faction? Okay, so yeah, I think we would just want it at start. Oof. Oh, I know why. It's because I'm a moron. Because I haven't set that up. And then wait, didn't we have current faction dot currency sprite? Didn't I? Okay, we'll worry about that later then, so we don't need that. Okay. So on load. No, what we want is why isn't that showing 15? Hmm. Okay. Hmm. That's weird. So at some point, like, those are set to 0. Okay, well, hopefully we don't see any issues with that. I think it might have just been a matter of like where exactly I put it and put that in the script. Because it might be like, because it happens just after load, and load would reduce it back down. I don't know why it would come back down since being brought up at that point, but that could be why. Okay, yeah, so that was a milestone one. So we expect it to. Oh no, why is it always closing? Oh god, all of these say milestone equals true. Okay, so we can get rid of those. Silly me. So basically, I think the problem that's happening here is it's asking for, so I've unlocked, like it's applying a leaf based on an unlocked so it's like, oh, you've unlocked the soldier, find the soldier and make sure that's unlocked. Oh, but we haven't, it hasn't actually initialized. Yeah, it remembers that we've got the soldier and the lines work, so obviously it's not very pretty, but we can see so attack speed should depend on but yeah, looks like we've got things working again, and yeah, a bit of investigation. I mean, I feel like I wasted a bit of time mucking around there, like, oh, should I refactor stats into everything, and should I make that work? And it's like, actually, that's not going to be worth it. Okay, do prereqs get done here? What I want to see is that get grayed out. Good. Yeah, and that's quite interesting. Wait. Why is this working so poorly? Is it because I'm clicking on it? It is. So, I think I can't remember how I used to do this. Like, I used to make like, so in previous games I've actually made like on the UI it had a like a raycast blocker, but I think probably the easiest thing to do is open building, if building panel active self is equal to false, and I should use this. Otherwise, don't open the building. Don't do anything at all. So again, this is just because this is going to be relevant when people work between different versions. Dot milestone equals leaf dot milestone. So it's just like copying over from, like, because the last time I saved it, those were milestones because of my error, and this will just fix that. Yeah. Okay, and we need to update. I think just here in update leaves, we can also update. Just so that basically every time we buy something, we see our new currency there. How did it go to 20? Why did it go up to 20? Oh, here we go. Current faction. Okay, so that's like a nice little cheat for me to now I can get ranger, soldier, attack speed. And this all works nicely, and it kind of looks nice, and it's clear. Obviously, lots to do to polish it up, make it nicer. But this is basically it. So if I just fully populate each of these, I mean, we're going to make it work for like different buildings. So if I clicked on another building, what would that look like? We've got to do the animations for the growing, but I think that's basically, like, we're basically there. So I think it would be a good idea to tidy up the to-do list. So design building skill trees, I did that. Oh yeah, I wanted to update the key art to pick with night. Well, I'm not doing that now. Got a few design choices. Basically, I need to continue doing this. So add more placeholder buildings. Add green bean base, and I think that's yeah. If I do that, then I'll iron out all the problems with like having different parts. But basically, this works. And obviously I haven't tested it, but it runs off the same logic that I tested before, which is we take all the leaves that we've unlocked and we apply that to our characters, and some do more than others, but basically unlocks things. And then there's visuals to think about. So it'd be like, yeah, let's add another building, and it doesn't really matter where they are, I can always move them, but just to get a sense of like, what does this place actually look like? You know? But yeah, each building has a skill tree. And yeah, you level them up, and then there'd probably be a button over here which is like to go back to the map, or we just go back to the map. And then there'll probably be a big ass like play button down here which is like quick play, where you can just choose any faction, but otherwise you'll be clicking a node which would be like level 1 of the story. It's like here between the orcs and the humans. Click there, but like it shows that you've picked Sean, and it shows that the enemy will by default have like pick or lure or corral even, and then you do the match with the special circumstances of the story, and then it brings you back here, and then it'll be like, right, okay, yeah, let's upgrade some shit, let's build the church, let's build the tavern, and let's upgrade them, and then back to war, back to the next mission, and so on. And that'll basically be the loop. And I think that'll work nicely. So I think we're basically there. I think that's basically everything I wanted to do. I mean, so there was that thing about refactoring, and that would have been nice to make talents work a bit nicer, but to be honest, the spaghetti that I have isn't that bad. I'd love to change that spaghetti, remove it with something, replace it with non-spaghetti, but I'm not going to be able to do that. Okay, should we do a little play? Round off the day. Oh, what's this? Okay, yeah, so we need that leaf starter fact. And what does starter fact do? I think starter fact effectively works as like it doesn't actually do anything. We just check for it by name. So let's go. Doesn't know what building it's in. As long as it's there. It doesn't come with anything. Just doesn't come with anything. Yeah. That's not what we wanted. Back here, just press play. And I think what it's doing is it's actually just because it's my first game, but I shouldn't even see these character select screen. But I guess it's I don't know. Do we have sound? We do. Okay, nice. And despite so much tinkering under the hood, we actually have it. I might want to say, one of the things I might want to do is actually say, well, no, you don't have Shield Bearer. You haven't unlocked it yet. Like the first mission you play, you're just going to have soldiers. You'll upgrade them for a bit, and then Beanie will show up as part, or like the working name will show up with some rangers, and then you'll get to use rangers. But essentially, it's like, look, you've just gone out with a bunch of soldiers, you're screwed, and you die. But then well, you lose, but Beanie, the Rangeress, comes and rescues you basically. But starting a game works fine, and I'm confident that actually like whatever upgrades we've bought should be there. And we'll definitely figure that out soon. Either way. And yeah, there's a few things to test out, but like in principle, this all works. So if I actually make these buildings and make the skill trees work, and then it works, and do the map with the story and everything, we're gonna have our game. So yeah, we're doing nicely. Very nice. It's gonna be interesting to see what the game's like with like so many things cut out. Yeah, nice. So far, so good. I mean, basically the game works. I haven't broken anything fundamental. The game doesn't bug out when we spawn a character because we've got a talent, so that's good. Yeah, I mean the game works. It's just we need to progress. We need our first mission. I could go in any direction. I could start drawing it. I could start fleshing it out. But basically, I'm happy that I got the bulk of it working. And I'm happy to sort of close the door on that refactoring I was going to do. It's like I may yet do it, but for now, I'm quite happy that everything's just working. And we don't need any refactoring. It's just not going to be necessary. Nice. Seems like they have pretty high attack speed. I think that might just be the like enemy modifier for being bigger, which we can change. Like this guy attacks super fast. Yeah, just playing at the moment, seeing what breaks, but also just having fun playing. Like, I find when I get too bogged down in like refactoring and coding stuff, I find that I kind of just want to play and remind myself that I actually enjoyed this game, because that's why I'm spending so much extra time on it. It was just going to be like a quick flush one out, kind of get it done game, but it kind of in order to do it justice, I realized I had to put a lot more work into it. Let's get that totem. I love their faces of the knights. We're not doing debuffs. We could do heals. Thing is, we don't have the priest unlocked. And so yeah, like we really do need to test the game in the context of like having unlocks and shit. So yeah, I want to make the map screen look good. I want to make all these things look good. And I kind of want to test the game with things like basically locked by default. So at the beginning you would just have soldiers. And that would literally just be for the first mission. Yeah, this is good. I've got a epic weapon. It's doing damage. It's clear that that's doing the damage. Let's pick up all of this loot. Yeah, it's a nicely balanced run. Mana on block. We do have quite a lot of mana. Yeah, in fact, I think that's good. We do have quite a lot of blockers, I mean. Lovely. Yeah, nice. Nice little clashes happening. Yeah, very nicely balanced. Oh dear. Oh dear. Okay, interesting. So the yeah, it did feel like some of those tier 2 units, like their attack speed was absurdly high. I should look into that, but I think we're basically all right. Okay, that's a good place to leave it, I think, because it's too hot, and yeah, I'll just be spinning my wheels if I keep working, because there's yeah, I've just got everything to do basically. So yeah, the next thing I'll do is I'll need to spend some time sorting out my to-do list. But next week I'll either start drawing the new stuff, or start populating more of these things, or start doing more on the map. Like, it's just any direction to go in, lots of freedom. So that should be fun. So yeah, see you on Monday then. Have a great weekend. Cheers. Bye.